In today's lecture, we will be starting with the functions of blood. Now, today's lecture has been divided into two separate sections, right? First, we'll be talking about the functions of plasma proteins. Now, from previous videos, we already know that plasma proteins, they are a constituent part of blood. So, what all are the functions of plasma proteins are also the functions of blood. There is no doubt in that, right? But it is not a necessity that all the functions of blood are to be the functions of plasma proteins, right? So first we'll be discussing all the functions that are devoted to plasma proteins, and then what all left out functions are there that we'll be taking into the functions of blood. So first is those functions of blood we'll be discussing first in which the role is played by plasma proteins. So we can say that they are the functions of plasma proteins, right? So first is only under the functions of blood, the functions of plasma proteins, right? So first function that I have to talk about here is oncotic pressure. Now, oncotic pressure, as discussed in the previous lecture of the blood physiology series, we have mentioned that oncotic pressure is the pressure exerted by plasma proteins on the walls of the blood vessels. Right, here we'll be obviously talking in much more detail. So let's start with that. To understand what is osmotic pressure, let's first understand a very simple, crisp concept here. Let's suppose this is the blood vessel, right? Obviously in the blood vessel there are cells making the lining of the blood vessel. We call that lining endothelium. Okay, so here are the cells which are present. Okay, like this. Now, here we have the blood. This is one plasma protein. This is second plasma protein, and this is third plasma protein. Right? We know that mainly there are three plasma proteins that we have to talk about. Right? We have albumin, globulin, and fibrinogen that we are concerned about. Okay. So I have drawn these three proteins. Okay. The first thing that I want to introduce in front of you is that can you see there are certain gaps present in between these cells, right? There are certain gaps present in between these endothelial cells of the blood vessels. Okay, now let's suppose there are, obviously in the blood there are not only plasma proteins, there are electrolytes as well. So let's suppose there is sodium, potassium, other things present in the blood, urea, etc., etc. Right? Now this blood is basically in a capillary, right? And it is going to supply a tissue. So here I am drawing just the tissue. So this is the tissue portion. We know that tissue is made up of a bunch of cells. Okay. Now what happens is when capillary arrives at the exchange point, when blood arrives at the exchange point, matlab artery is a bigger thing, right? Artery ने branch करा और let's suppose capillaries बनाई. Okay. Capillaries बनाई, एक capillary हर एक tissue में जाके बहुत सारे cells को supply करेगी, right? So this is that capillary and this is that tissue. In between the cells, we know there is a space known as interstitial space, right? Between two cells, or between these cells, there is a space which is known as interstitial space or extracellular fluid, you can say. In this interstitial space, what is present? Extracellular fluid is present, right? Now, what has to happen is that capillary has to give what all good nutrients it is carrying to the tissue, and tissue has to return the bad waste material like urea, xanthine, what all wastage waste products are there to the capillary, right? So good nutrients like nutritional things like glucose, sodium, potassium, etc. are returned in this direction, capillary to tissue, and from the tissue also there are some things which are to be returned to capillary, right? So that they can be drained. Now, what about these plasma proteins? Actually, the gap which is present in between the cells of the endothelium, that is the endothelial cells, you can see कि दो endothelial cells के बीच में कुछ gap है, right? So the gap present between the two endothelial cells is basically not so much that bigger plasma proteins can cross. So these plasma proteins, they become entrapped in the capillary vessel, right? They become entrapped in the capillary or in the rest of the blood vessels, right? They cannot cross this barrier. They cannot enter into the interstitial space. This point is clear. So what they do is, in the blood vessel, in the capillary, because the plasma proteins are now entrapped, and we know one point, if you don't know, then this should be noted above margin of your notebook, that plasma proteins are osmotically active molecules. They are osmotically active molecules. Plasma proteins, they are osmotically active molecules. Now what does that mean? Osmotically active means that whenever plasma proteins are present in the blood, they are going to exert a pressure on the wall of the blood, and especially albumin. Right? Especially albumin. Now what happens? Let's suppose this third protein that I am talking about here is albumin. Let's suppose this second is albumin, right? So what albumin is going to do, albumin will bind to water. It has water attraction property. So these flakes that I have drawn, this single flake like this, these are water molecules, right? So albumin binds to water molecule. Okay. Now when albumin binds to water molecule, this structure which is formed, albumin surrounded by water molecules, is going to exert pressure in the blood vessel. Not only albumin, this protein also, but major pressure is exerted by this albumin, right? Now, the pressure which is exerted by albumin along with the surrounding water molecules on the walls of blood vessel, this is oncotic pressure. So what is oncotic pressure? I'll be writing it here. Osmotic pressure, this is the osmotic pressure that is exerted by plasma proteins on the walls of blood vessels, right? Now, this oncotic pressure is equal to 25 millimeters of mercury, right? It is equal to 25 millimeter of mercury, and out of this 70% of oncotic pressure is contributed by albumin. So 70% contribution is by albumin protein, right? So albumin protein is going to majorly help in the exertion of oncotic pressure, right? Now what हमने जितना भी oncotic pressure पढ़ा, इसका काम क्या है? What is the work or the help that an oncotic pressure is going to give, right? It is very important. What the thing is that, see, water molecules are loose molecules, right? Water is fluid in nature, so fluid can easily cross these gaps that are present. In between the endothelial cells. These gaps I'm talking about, right? Which are here. Okay, so fluid can cross these gaps easily. What happens is, albumin binds with water molecule, right? So that they cannot cross this gap. Now, let's suppose albumin is not there, right? So there is no one who can bind water molecules, right? कोई भी नहीं है जो water molecule के साथ bind हो और water molecules को इधर जाने से रोके, right? अब होगा क्या? सारे के सारे वाटर मॉलिक्यूल्स, मतलब जितना भी पानी है ब्लड में जितना भी पानी है, वो कहां चला जाएगा? पूरा एक्स्ट्रा सेलुलर फ्लूइड में चला जाएगा, जिसकी वजह से द टिश्यू, जितना पानी टिश्यू को चाहिए नहीं, उससे ज्यादा पानी टिश्यू के अंदर आ जाएगा, राइट? दिस विल लीड टू अ कंडीशन नोन एज इडीमा, right? So in order to prevent this condition, edema, the existence of albumin protein is very crucial, right? So albumin protein is very important in order to prevent the conditions like edema. First point. Second thing, it binds with water molecule so as to maintain the blood volume. अब maintain the blood volume कैसे? अगर सारा का सारा पानी यहाँ एक्स्ट्रा सेलुलर फ्लूइड में चला जाएगा तो उसकी वजह से क्या होगा? ब्लड वॉल्यूम अगर 5 लीटर है या 5.5 लीटर है तो वो कम हो जाएगी. लेट्स सपोज 4.6 लीटर हो गई या 4.5 लीटर हो गई, राइट? सो आई होप दैट यू हैव अंडरस्टूड दिस oncotic pressure. That's all about oncotic pressure. The next function of plasma protein is viscosity, right? Now what is it's a very small function, so I'm writing it here only. Viscosity, right? Viscosity also, in the second lecture we have already covered viscosity. So viscosity is गाढ़ापन. Blood कितना गाढ़ा है? In the previous lecture I explained it by the example of honey and water. You can go out and watch it there. Viscosity basically means what is the like, अगर हम बहुत जनरल इंग्लिश में बोले, लेमैन्स इंग्लिश में, तो we call it a density, right? So that is what is viscosity. Now these plasma proteins, especially fibrinogen, right, and albumin, they help in giving the blood its viscosity. मतलब blood को गाढ़ापन देने के लिए फाइब्रिनोजन और एल्ब्यूमिन प्रोटीन्स बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, राइट? 50% ब्लड को गाढ़ापन देने के लिए आरबीसीज इंपॉर्टेंट है, और बाकी का जो 50% बचा उसमें एल्ब्यूमिन और फाइब्रिनोजन. व्हाई आर दे गिवन? बिकॉज फाइब्रिनोजन इज asymmetrical in shape and albumin is ellipsoid in shape. Ellipsoid is like somewhat around spherical, right? That is what is ellipsoid in shape. So viscosity is provided to the blood by three things: 50% by RBCs and rest of the 50% by fibrinogen and albumin. Why are fibrinogen and albumin more helpful in providing viscosity to the blood? Because of their shapes. Fibrinogen is asymmetrical in shape and albumin is ellipsoid in shape, right? So the next function that we'll be taking on is the immunity, right? Immunity. Now, in the previous lecture, we talked about that there are three plasma proteins: albumin, globulin, and fibrinogen. Let's come to globulin. Globulin, remember, it was of three types: alpha, beta, and gamma. Gamma globulin forms antibody, right? It helps in the formation, or rather, it is antibody, right? अगर किसी भी, जैसे let's suppose प्रोटीन किससे बना है? अमीनो एसिड से. Likewise, एंटीबॉडी किससे बनी है? गामा ग्लोबुलिन से बनी है. IgA, IgG, IgA is always present in our saliva. कोई सा भी अगर सलाइवा में एक्सटर्नल एजेंट्स के थ्रू कोई भी बैक्टीरिया आया तो वहीं के वहीं उस एंटीबॉडी, IgA एंटीबॉडी जो प्रेजेंट है वो उसे मार देगी, राइट? तो इम्यूनिटी में हेल्प करते हैं प्लाज्मा प्रोटीन्स. रादर हम डिटेल में, जब ओनली इन ब्लड फिजियोलॉजी, व्हेन वी विल बी कवरिंग द इम्यूनोलॉजी सेक्शन, there we'll understand how the antibodies they're working. But for now, you should remember that immunity as a function of blood is provided by gamma globulin, which is a plasma protein, right? And antibodies, they're gonna kill the foreign agent that is there, right? Next function of the blood, of the plasma protein that is there, that they help in the maintenance of ESR, that is erythrocyte sedimentation rate. ESR is nothing but erythrocyte sedimentation rate. I am writing it here. It is erythrocyte sedimentation rate. So what is erythrocyte sedimentation rate? Basically erythrocyte sedimentation rate is, let's suppose you have taken a beaker. ठीक है, अपन ने एक बीकर लिया, ठीक है, उसमें हमने बहुत सारा ब्लड रख दिया, ठीक है, this is the blood. The next day when we see this blood, what we see is, ये जो RBCs है वो एक के ऊपर एक बैठे हुए हैं. जैसे हम एक के ऊपर एक सिक्का बना देते हैं ना, वैसे एक RBC, उसके बाद दूसरा, तीसरा, चौथा, पांचवा, छठा, सात, राइट? लाइकवाइज. तो कुछ इस तरीके की अरेंजमेंट मिलती है, राइट? इन दिस मैनर वी गेट द अरेंजमेंट. सो ये एक के ऊपर एक बहुत सारे RBCs बैठे हुए हैं. And this structure which is formed by RBCs sitting one over the other, we call that Rolex. The structure is known as Rolex or Rolex, right? So Rolex formation is also determined by the concentration of plasma proteins, right? Especially I shall write here fibrinogen. यहाँ पे fibrinogen बहुत important role play करता है, right? So in erythrocyte sedimentation rate, कितनी देर में जो RBCs है वो sedimentate हो जाएंगे. Let's suppose ये मैंने blood लिया, मैंने देखा 2 घंटे बाद जितने भी इसमें RBCs थे वो सारी उनकी सबकी sedimentation हो गई. तो rate कितना है erythrocyte sedimentation का? 2 hours, right? तो ये किस पे डिपेंड करता है? ये जो टाइम है erythrocyte sedimentation का, वो किस पे डिपेंड करता है? It depends upon these molecules, right? These plasma proteins, especially which plasma protein? Fibrinogen. The concentration of fibrinogen affects Rolex formation, right? And this will affect the erythrocyte sedimentation rate. So these are some of the very crucial, the functions of plasma protein. Apart from this, there are certain other functions of plasma proteins that I will be taking just now. Next functions of plasma protein. So we have already covered 4 functions. So the 5th function is transport, right? Plasma proteins are very important transporters as well of, especially, let's suppose, remember we discussed these globulins. So gamma globulin, its role is in immunity, that we have talked about. Alpha and beta globulins, they are helping in the transportation of substances, right? Especially lipid soluble substances, but there are certain other substances as well. like there is a protein alpha, and it is a globulin, right? So there are certain globulin proteins like ceruloplasmin, we have transferrin, right? We have haptoglobulin, right? So these are helping in the transport of, like ceruloplasmin is helping in the transport of copper ions, transferrin is helping in the transport of these ferrous ions, haptoglobulin is helping in transport of hemoglobin, right? Let's suppose this is only copper. Ceruloplasmin is helping in the transport of copper, in the transport of iron, and the transport of hemoglobin. Now, other thing that is very important that I want to know, that I want to tell you guys is that in next year pathology you will be studying about something called as free radical injury, right? Free radical injury. See, there are various substances, maybe exogenous, or exogenous substances means वो substances जो बाहर से आए हैं, and endogenous means वो substances जो already हमारी body में हैं, right? So, for a cell to be injured, there can be two kinds of substances, exogenous substances and endogenous substances, right? Some of the endogenous substances are iron, right? Iron or copper as well, right? So, when iron is there in the body, it is in this form, right? This is known as the ferric form of iron. Now in this form, iron cannot basically perform all its function, right? So it has to be oxidized in or reduced to this form, that is ferrous form. This is ferrous form, right? So what I said, iron basically it is absorbed from the gastrointestinal tract in this form, right? This is a little confusion, right? I'll make it clear. When we are eating a certain source of iron, the iron present in that source is in this form, Fe3+, right? But in Fe3+ form, iron cannot be absorbed from our gastrointestinal tract or simply from the intestine. So it is to be converted into Fe2+. And in this process, HCl is helping. The HCl that is present in stomach, it helps in iron absorption. तो मैंने क्या बोला, जो आयरन, कोई भी आयरन का सोर्स जो हम बाहर से खा रहे हैं उसमें Fe3+ की फॉर्म में आयरन प्रेजेंट है, लेकिन हमारी बॉडी इस फॉर्म में आयरन को इंटेस्टाइन से एब्जॉर्ब नहीं कर सकती, तो अल्टीमेटली इसको इस फॉर्म में एब्जॉर्ब कर सकती है, दैट इज इन द फेरस फॉर्म, राइट? एंड फ्रॉम द फेरिक फॉर्म टू द फेरस फॉर्म द कन्वर्जन इज बाय द HCl which is in the gastric juice. Okay, now once this enters the blood circulation from the intestine, this form of iron is absorbed and it enters the blood circulation. Then what happens? This is again converted into Fe3+. It is again converted into the ferrous form, is again converted into Fe3, right? So ultimately in blood, iron is present as Fe3, right? I think this is very clear. Ultimately in the blood, the iron is present as Fe3+. It is very clear, right? Now, it is very risky to leave iron in this form, because in this form, iron will react with some or other substances and will produce free radicals. What are free radicals? Free radicals, you must have studied in 11th and 12th chemistry, that free radicals are certain substances which are having one electron in the last orbit free, right? So let's suppose this is iron, it is how to represent the iron radical, ठीक है? तो इस तरीके से free radical iron produce करेगा, right? Iron radical नहीं, maybe oxygen superoxide, right? Hydrogen peroxide. So it is going to produce free radicals, and free radicals, they can cause, they are carcinogenic, right? They can cause injury to the cell, they can make the DNA of the cell, they can mutate the DNA of the cell in such a manner that it may lead to production of certain carcinogenic enzymes or proteins and may cause malignancy, that is cancer, right? So this is free radical injury. So I said that Fe3+ is present in the blood, iron is present as Fe3+, right? So it is going to react with one or the other substances in order to produce free radicals, right? And when free radicals will be produced, they are carcinogenic, right? They can cause cancer. Also, they can cause free radical injury. They can cause injury to the cell and may lead to cell death via necrosis, most commonly via necrosis. Okay, so this is a certain part which you are going to study in second year pathology. But for now, this was important. That's why I explained this. So in blood, iron is present as Fe3+. Okay. Now it is heavily risky. As I told you, it is very risky to leave the iron in Fe3+ form. So what we do? We combine the iron with transferrin, right? This is, let's suppose, a transferrin molecule. Okay, this is, let's suppose, a transferrin molecule. It loves to bind with iron. So in the blood, it will bind with iron, right? And now this transferrin molecule will not allow this Fe3 plus or ferric ion to react with any species, and hence there will be no production of free radicals. So no carcinogenic protein or enzyme will be produced, no free radical injury will be there, right? So this is important as far as the transport part is concerned, right? This was something about like a clinical correlation. Okay. Now the next function is buffering action, right? So next is buffering action of plasma proteins. Now what is buffering action? See, as I told you, you will be studying later that whenever carbon dioxide level increases in blood, carbon dioxide binds with water and forms carbonic acid, right? So this is an acid. It will increase the pH of the blood, decrease the pH of the blood. It is an acid, so it will decrease the pH of the blood, right? So blood, as we said, is slightly alkaline. 7.2 to 7.4 is the pH, this is the normal pH of blood. In the first lecture we discussed this. Now what happens that whenever carbonic acid concentration in the blood rises, this leads to acidic nature of the blood. And in the blood there are several enzymes, right, which are supposed to work only if the conditions remain basic or alkaline. When the conditions become acidic, now because the conditions are acidic, because the carbonic acid level is elevated, so the pH has been decreased, it is acidic now, those enzymes which were supposed to work in basic conditions will now fail to work, right? They won't work, as a result of which the homeostasis of the body will be disrupted. Homeostasis मतलब हर चीज को normally रखना body में, right? So that will be disrupted. ठीक है, तो बहुत सारे enzymes काम नहीं कर पाएंगे, तो एक या दो या इनफैक्ट 5-10 functions हमारी body के fail हो जाएंगे. ठीक है, body कुछ किन्हीं चीजों पे काम नहीं कर पाई थी, right? So it is very important to keep the pH of the blood alkaline always, right? So for that, buffering properties there in the blood. Hemoglobin is also a buffering protein, right? Hemoglobin भी buffering action देता है, but now we are concerned about plasma proteins. So what I wanted to know is, now you know that कभी-कभी हमारा blood acidic हो जाता है, तो वापस उसका basic nature वापस लाने के लिए plasma proteins काम करते हैं. तो plasma proteins are also having this buffering action in them, right? The last function of plasma proteins is they are basically protein reserves. They are protein reserves, right? Now, what do you mean by protein reserves? Okay, let's suppose एक बंदा व्रत कर रहा है, fasting पे है. So during fasting what happens? The individual is on inadequate diet. ठीक है, उसको अपनी diet complete नहीं कर रहा. ठीक है, due to any wish that he wants from God, he is not completing his diet. Due to which his body is going under malnutrition. राइट, मतलब एक दिन के लिए स्टारवेशन हो रही है, बॉडी को एडिक्वेट सरप्लस अमाउंट में न्यूट्रिशन नहीं मिला है, उसकी वजह से बॉडी के कुछ फंक्शंस कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो रखे हैं, राइट? सो देयर इज कॉम्प्रोमाइजेशन ऑफ सर्टेन फंक्शंस ऑफ द बॉडी ड्यू टू द इनएडिक्वेट डाइट दैट द इंडिविजुअल इज फॉलोइंग व्हेन ही इज ऑन फास्टिंग, राइट? तो उस टाइम पर बॉडी क्या करेगी? बॉडी को तो अपना काम चलाते रहना, ऐसा तो नहीं कि बंदे ने एक दिन नहीं खाया तो बंदा मर जाता है, राइट? that happens because of there are protein reserves in the body, right? जब भी कोई फास्टिंग कर रहा है या कोई व्रत कर रहा है, तो उस टाइम पर क्या होता है, बॉडी नॉर्मली एनर्जी के लिए किस पे डिपेंडेंट है? कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स पे. नाउ बिकॉज द पर्सन इज नॉट टेकिंग एनी मोर कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स, द बॉडी विल शिफ्ट इट्स एनर्जी रिजर्व्स टू प्रोटीन. अब प्रोटीन के थ्रू एनर्जी बनाई जाएगी, राइट? सो प्रोटीन रिजर्व्स, प्लाज्मा प्रोटीन्स आर एक्टिंग एज प्रोटीन रिजर्व्स. तो बॉडी में जब बाकी के प्रोटीन्स भी यूज अप हो गए, तो बचे कुछ जो हमारे पास प्लाज्मा प्रोटीन्स हैं वो भी यूज करे जा सकते हैं एनर्जी प्रोडक्शन में फास्टिंग के टाइम पर, राइट? सो दिस इज प्लाज्मा प्रोटीन्स कैन एक्ट एज प्रोटीन रिजर्व्स. सो हियर वी हैव कंप्लीटेड द फंक्शंस ऑफ प्लाज्मा प्रोटीन्स दैट यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. ओके, तो प्लाज्मा प्रोटीन्स में हमने कम से कम वी हैव डिस्कस्ड लाइक 7 फंक्शंस, राइट? Now all the functions of plasma proteins that we have discussed are also the functions of blood, right? So now as we discussed the plasma functions of plasma protein, we'll be now moving to the functions of blood. Now we'll be moving on to the functions of blood. So before moving on to the functions of blood, I'd like to just explain one remaining function of plasma protein that is coagulation, right? So in the second lecture we have also talked about this coagulation as well, that the fibrinogen and prothrombin, they are going to help in coagulation of blood, right? So during bleeding these two proteins are helping to stop the bleeding by forming the clot. So that's all about the functions of plasma proteins. Now we move to the functions of blood. So the first function of blood is nutritive function, right? First function is nutritive function, that is there. Now what do you mean by nutritive function? We know one thing, that we are eating something, right? Let's suppose we have eaten some food, right? That has gone into the esophagus, through the esophagus, then into the stomach, into the duodenum, jejunum, ileum, large intestine. From the intestines, basically, from the jejunum, ileum and the large intestine part, there is absorption, right? तो जितना भी हमने खाना खाया वो digest होके absorb हुआ intestinal part से, right? Maximum absorption is occurring in the small intestine only, right? So nutritive function means कि जितना भी हमने खाना खाया, that is absorbed by the intestine into the blood. Now blood is carrying all those substances that we have eaten, that are absorbed into the blood, to different tissues which need them, like brain, kidneys, liver, etc. Right? So nutritive function means that blood transports essential nutrients like amino acids, glucose, or rather you can write carbohydrates, fats, vitamin, etc. to different tissues of the body in order to meet their need, different tissues of body. So this is the nutritive function, right? Next is the respiratory function of blood. So this is very important, the respiratory function of blood, right? Respiratory function is basically that let's suppose we have lungs here, right? These are the lungs, and this is the blood capillary here. This is the blood capillary, right? And this is a tissue. This is a random tissue in the body. ये कहीं पे भी है. It is a, ये lungs का part नहीं है ये वाला tissue, right? And the blood तो पूरी body में flow करता ही है, तो ultimately ये blood यहाँ पे भी आया है, right? In this manner, the arteries are branching out, और ultimately ये जो blood है वो यहाँ पे भी आएगा, right? In this manner. So what happens is, you can suppose in this thing, okay? So what happens? This is basically anatomically, this is not anatomically made diagram, it is physiologically conceptualized. So what happens is, from the lung, in the lung you must have heard about alveoli, right? So what all air that we are taking, it is rich in oxygen, right? This air that we are taking, it is high in oxygen and lower in the amount of carbon dioxide. Now the tissues, what they do, tissues excrete carbon dioxide, right? जब भी glucose का metabolism होता है, तो glucose के metabolism की, you must have done that formula, that is C6H12O6 plus O2 gives out CO2 and water, right? So that CO2 that is produced in the cells, it is given to the blood, ठीक है? अब यही blood जो जिसके पास क्या है, CO2 ज्यादा है और ऑक्सीजन कम है, क्योंकि ऑक्सीजन तो सारे टिश्यूज को दे दी, ठीक है? तो ये ब्लड अब यहाँ पे आएगा, राइट? तो यहाँ पे ये ब्लड आया, इस ब्लड के पास कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड ज्यादा थी, ऑक्सीजन कम था. एल्वियोलाई के पास ऑक्सीजन ज्यादा थी, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड कम था. सो ऑक्सीजन विल डिफ्यूज इनसाइड एंड कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड विल डिफ्यूज outside, right? So now the blood that is coming here, it has more oxygen and less carbon dioxide. The tissues, what is happening in a tissue? Tissue के पास there is less oxygen but more carbon dioxide. So ultimately the oxygen I am indicating with blue color. So this oxygen will diffuse inside, carbon dioxide will diffuse outside. So this is oxygen and this is carbon dioxide. So this is how blood is circulating the respiratory gases, that is oxygen and carbon dioxide. What is there in the blood which helps it in the circulation of oxygen and carbon dioxide? And that substance is hemoglobin. That is hemoglobin. So hemoglobin can bind with oxygen as well, forming oxyhemoglobin, right? The compound which is formed when hemoglobin binds with oxygen is oxyhemoglobin, and the compound which is formed when hemoglobin binds with CO2 is called carbaminohemoglobin. Carbaminohemoglobin, right? So this is how blood is going to transport the gases. ठीक है। तो यहाँ पे लंग्स के लेवल पर ऑक्सीजन ज्यादा रहेगी, तो ब्लड जो यहाँ पे कौन सा ब्लड आया, डीऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड आया, तो डीऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड इज गोइंग टू गिव आउट ऑल द कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड एंड विल टेक द ऑक्सीजन। फिर वो जाएगा तो टिश्यू को तो ऑक्सीजन चाहिए, तो ऑक्सीजन टिश्यू को दे देगा, टिश्यू में जितनी भी कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड थी वो ब्लड खुद ले लेगा। So ultimately, in this manner, the blood becomes oxygenated and the blood becomes deoxygenated. And in pumping of these bloods, the heart is helping. I'm not drawing the heart here because you're not actually learning the respiratory physiology, just the function. Right. The next function of blood is defensive function. Defensive function. Right. So in blood, obviously there are plasma proteins. So defensive function is played by two things. One is the plasma protein, right? Plasma proteins, we know that there is gamma globulin, which is basically antibody and is helping to kill the foreign invaders. Also, there are WBCs, right? There are various kind of WBCs that are there. Granulocytes and agranulocytes, depending upon the WBC के cytoplasm में granules हैं या नहीं है. Then further, agranulocytes, they are of two types: monocytes, lymphocytes. Granulocytes, which are having granules in their cytoplasm, there are three types: eosinophils, basophils, न्यूट्रोफिल्स। ओके, नाउ बेसिकली इन WBCs, जब भी कोई फॉरेन इन्वेडर हमारी बॉडी में आता है, जब भी कोई नो मैटर कुछ भी है, वायरस है, बैक्टीरिया है, कुछ भी है, एनी फॉरेन इन्वेडर दैट इज एंटरिंग द बॉडी विल बी फर्स्ट अटैक्ड बाय फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ डिफेंस दैट इज फाउंड बाय दिस WBC, पर्टिकुलरली न्यूट्रोफिल। ठीक है, न्यूट्रोफिल आर फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ डिफेंस। तो न्यूट्रोफिल क्या करेंगे, फैगोसाइटोसिस से उस ऑर्गेनिज्म को खाने की कोशिश करेंगे। देयर आर डिफरेंट स्टेप्स ऑफ फैगोसाइटोसिस, लाइक कीमोटैक्सिस, डायापेडेसिस। We'll be talking of that in immunity later. So these are all the initial functions of blood, right? The rest of the functions we'll be talking about now. Next function of blood. So the fourth function is the blood. It is also acting as transport medium. It is also acting as transport medium. It means that, let's suppose that there is hypothalamus, right? So this is a gland. This is hypothalamus. You must have studied it in the endocrine system, class 11, right? And then there is pituitary gland here, right? Pituitary gland, this is anterior pituitary, right? And this is posterior pituitary, right? Now one thing that we know is the anterior pituitary, it is also known as neurohypophysis, it is also known as adenohypophysis, right? Hypothalamus is going to secrete certain hormone, right? Let's suppose it secretes a hormone. Let's suppose it is secreting growth hormone, right? So basically growth hormone is secreted by hypothalamus, right? This growth hormone, it is going to reach the posterior pituitary by arteries, right? By the blood vessels, ठीक है? तो hypothalamus इस growth hormone को associated blood vessel में डालेगा, right? This is a blood vessel which is connecting the hypothalamus and pituitary, and the set of blood vessels that connect the hypothalamus and anterior pituitary is known as hypothalamo pituitary axis, right? These are the set of blood vessels which are connecting the hypothalamus and anterior pituitary, right? Remember, the posterior pituitary and hypothalamus, they are connected by the help of tracts, right? Not by the help of blood vessels. So growth hormone आया, right? This growth hormone will be stored in anterior pituitary, right? So basically blood is also helping in the transport of hormones, right? Not only in this, pancreas is secreting insulin, right? The beta cells of pancreas, they are going to secrete insulin. That insulin is transported in whole of the body via blood. So that is again an important function of blood as a transport medium. So blood is going to help in the transport of hormones and certain other enzymes as well. Okay. Now the next function of blood is excretory function. It is excretory function. Why? Again that same thing. यहाँ पे अपने tissue है, ठीक है? This is the capillary. So blood is bringing oxygen. That oxygen is given to the cells. Cells are excreting carbon dioxide. Also cells are excreting urea. Right? Cells are excreting xanthine, creatinine. Right? So basically, blood is transporting all the nutrients to the cells, and cells in return are giving the waste material to the blood. This waste material is given to the blood, and blood takes that waste material to the kidney so that it can be eliminated. So this is the excretory function. Next function of blood is acid-base balance, right? So basically the blood is also helping in acid-base balance. ठीक है, वही मैंने बताया था कि ब्लड की पीएच कभी कभी बढ़ भी सकती है. तो ब्लड में कौन कौन सी चीजें हैं जो एसिड बेस बैलेंस बनाकर रखती हैं? एक तो हमने पढ़ा प्लाज्मा प्रोटीन्स, ऑल्सो देयर इज हीमोग्लोबिन. सो these are also known as buffering actions, right? This acid base balance as a property of blood is also known as buffering action. ठीक है. So again in this we are also having plasma protein. Okay. So now next functions of blood. So now only two functions of blood are remaining. Let's cover them also. So the next function is temperature regulation. Blood is also helping in the regulation of temperature. How? Temperature or heat, rather we shall say heat. Heat is continuously produced in the interior core of our body, right? So the interior of our body, the core of our body is normally higher in temperature, right? From there, the heat is absorbed by blood. So from the interior of our body, from the core of our body, the heat is absorbed, and that heat is transported by the blood to the surface of the body, like the tip of the nose, the extremities, all the extremities, tip of the nose, lips, these tip of fingers, right, etc. and etc. So or the skin is also forming the surface of the body. So the cutaneous vessels that are there, they are carrying the blood, right? So what happens is, from the interior, this is, let's suppose, the core of our body, right? In the core of our body, let's suppose this is the blood vessel. So in core, as I said, heat is being produced continuously. Various metabolic processes are taking place. In stomach there is high production of acid. In intestine also there is very suffocating environment. Heat is being produced continuously because of certain other one and another reactions. So heat is produced continuously. This heat is basically absorbed by the blood vessels there in the core of our body, right? And these blood vessels, when they reach the surface of our body, so this, let's suppose, is the surface of our body. When they reach the surface of our body, this heat is lost to the environment. This heat is lost to the environment, right? How? Because the environment is basically much cooler. Okay? The environment is basically much cooler, and the blood that is coming to the surface is like, it is heated. But why it is heated? Because from the core it is carrying heat. तो ये ब्लड कैसा हो गया, गर्म हो गया, और ये ब्लड कहाँ पे आया, सरफेस पे आया. तो सरफेस पे जब ये ब्लड आया तो नॉर्मली इस हमारे सरफेस जो स्किन है उसके अराउंड जो भी इन्वायरमेंट है वो मच कूलर है, ठीक है, वो ज्यादा ठंडा है एज कम्पेयर टू दिस ब्लड. तो बेसिक तो हीट की कंसंट्रेशन यहाँ ज्यादा है और हीट की कंसंट्रेशन यहाँ कम है, तो हीट इज लॉस्ट फ्रॉम ब्लड टू द सरफेस, टू द एनवायरमेंट, राइट? So this is temperature regulation. Next function or the last function is blood is also acting as a storage site, right? Let's suppose वही फास्टिंग वाला एग्जांपल लेते हैं. एक पर्सन फास्टिंग कर रहा है तो उस एग्जांपल उस केस में प्रोटीन्स कहाँ से यूज होंगे? प्लाज्मा प्रोटीन, बिकॉज प्लाज्मा प्रोटीन दे एक्ट एज अ प्रोटीन रिजर्व, ठीक है. ऑल्सो if the person the cells of the person require sodium, potassium, so they are also present in plasma, right? They are also present in blood, तो blood से वो भी ले सकते हैं. तो blood is basically acting as a storage site of the nutrients, right? So that's all about today's lecture. We have discussed about all the functions of blood, right? What all are the functions of plasma proteins are also the functions of blood. So in the next lecture, we'll be talking about hemopoiesis. Thank you.